And that's what I saw when you see young men and women who are particularly from Black and brown communities and impoverished communities, and they get these absorbent sentences, and then you see folks from different communities who might be of a different hue, and they get probation or they get a slap on the wrist or things like that. And it really begged the question, am I going to do as much work to defend one person, or am I going to try to put my efforts into changing the system?
It's the all-new Valley Gold with Debórah. This is the show that brings you the stars, the stories, and the performances. You'll see familiar faces, and you'll get to learn more about how they do what they do. Today, Debórah chops it up with attorney and voting rights activist Kayla Griffin. So stay tuned. Debórah has great features for you on the all-new Valley Gold with Debórah. Stay tuned for our Legends Music Moment. Special delivery. That's what each newborn baby is in the hands of your team in the village. Dr. Rodney Hill and his professional staff of nurse practitioners, conveniently located on 5th Avenue in Youngstown, open weekdays and Saturdays. Call today. Whether it's Motown, Philly Soul, Stax, Solar, Savoy, you name it, people from every nation love old school rhythm and blues music. Now I hope you enjoy.
I hear them whisper, you won't believe it, they think we lovers, help under covers, I just ignore it, they keep saying we laugh just a little too loud, to stand just a little too close, so stand just a little too long, maybe they're seeing something we don't, darling. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. How about love? I feel so foolish. I never noticed you act so nervous. Could you be fine for it? It took Aruba to make me wonder.
It's all about the love, coming up on Valley Gold with Debórah. Trust, dignity, and peace of mind. These are the qualities you look for when planning the memorial service of a loved one. L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home is the name families have come to rely on for pre-need planning, grief support, financial guidance, and compassion during life's most difficult time. Located at 1951 McGuffey Road in Youngstown, in the time of need, it's L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, still caring for the memories most cherished by you. Welcome back to the show. We live in a day and time where many people just can't seem to figure out how to build the kind of relationship that will last a lifetime. Well, my next guest is all about the love. His name is Jason Hairston. Welcome to the show, Jason.
And we are here with more with Debórah. And in today's segment, we're going to talk about understanding how to process your partner's view. When it comes to seeing the world, men and women see things through different lenses. Women primarily see the world through the emotional lens. Men, we primarily see the world through the logical lens. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, but primarily this is how we see the world. So when a woman looks out into the world, they're feeling what's happening. There's more of a feeling of what's going on, okay? So for us as men to understand how a woman is seeing the world, we need to get into our feelings. Now on the other end, women have to understand how to be more open to the logical view as well. And if we have that balance within a relationship, we can come together and solve problems. And this is what we both need to be balanced within a successful relationship.
Up next on the show, is Bookmarks with Dr. Larthenia Howard.
Every engine lover knows that sweet sound of an engine that is ready to race. This car was made ready at the Predator Zone. The Predator Zone is Northeast Ohio's only test and tune track. 330 feet of track with reaction time. Our track will pull your teeth out. Located on Youngstown's east side, grand opening in April. Before you put that car in the race, make an appointment at the Predator Zone.
How many times has someone said to you, you should write a book? And you said, I should, but where would I begin? I want to introduce you to our book writing expert. She's helped many people just like you write their story and get it onto the bestsellers list. Let's welcome to the show, Dr. Larthenia Howard.
Hi, Debórah, and hello to all our viewers. Today's bookmark is Find the Right Spot. The late poet Robert Creeley once said, the necessary environment is that which secures the artist in the way that lets him be in the world in a most fruitful manner. Creeley understood the effect of the environment on our mood, our behaviors, and creativity. You may have noticed that you feel more vibrant and alive in certain surroundings than you do in others. For many people, rainy days induce a feeling of relaxation and wanting to curl up on a couch, snugly and cozy to read a book or movie. Surrounded by the sounds of your favorite band or waves crashing against the ocean shoreline may evoke a certain mood or feelings. This is the power of our environments. Creating an atmosphere or space for writing is one that is often overlooked by aspiring authors and a mistake to avoid. This is what I refer to as the right spot, the RITE spot. It is the place, time, and environment that seduces my brain to quiet and create. This week, I want you to take note of the places, times, and environments that perk your mind to wonder and create. Until next time, inspire your legacy.
Y'all need to help her. Somebody help Debórah. Help Debórah. Somebody help her.
The outage started just after 3:30 this afternoon, spreading across the Northeast.
Our choices define us, makes us who we are. Who will you choose to become?
We can't stay here, okay? We need to leave right now. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah. Absolutely.
I had to go all the way to Dayton, Ohio to find a chef who would finally teach me how to make a beverage in a way that I could grasp it. Check it out. Brian is a chef. Did you guys get that? And Brian is going to teach me how to do something. I know you guys think it is impossible for me to learn, but Brian is the man today. So what are we doing, Brian?
Right, so today we're going to make a non-alcoholic drink. It's called a bootlegger. All right, so we're going to take your orange
Wait. I thought we were doing cranberry juice first.
We're going to do it all together.
Oh, okay. We're doing it all together.
You're going to grab one, you're going to grab one.
Oh, we're going to do this together.
Like a family.
Oh, okay.
So we keep for you.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Look at this. I'm pouring correctly. I know nobody thinks I can, but I am. Is it all going to fit, Brian?
Yep.
Okay.
Splash it off.
Splash it off?
Splash it in.
Oh, splash it in?
Let's splash it.
You better tell me. Splash it?
Stop.
Okay.
There we go.
Should I taste it first?
Go for it.
Alright.
Try to taste your own creation here. Non-alcoholic.
And it's
served at
good.
parties.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy, and you're not getting none. How about that? Up next, it's Keeping It Fresh on Valley Gold with Debórah.
Do you have challenges posing your dancers? Well, we have a solution for you. Point Now Flex Posing Cards.
We assure you this deck of cards will enhance your next photo shoot
with visuals on the front and descriptions on the back. Varying categories to help your photo shoot from the beginning to the end.
So honey, go ahead and visit our site and grab your deck of Point Now Flex Posing Cards.
Keeping it fresh for us today is a gorgeous, melanin-rich beauty named Ashley All Smiles. Ashley is the quintessential beauty stylist, so from head to shoulders, she's gonna show us how to keep it fresh.
Hello, Debórah. Thank you so much. It is Ashley All Smiles, and today I want to talk about glitter. Messy? I don't know. I like it. I'm going to show you how I keep it fresh with the nice, colorful glitter face. Check it out.
Stay tuned as Debórah chops it up with attorney and voting rights activist Kayla Griffin. Special delivery. That's what each newborn baby is in the hands of your team in the village. Dr. Rodney Hill and his professional staff of nurse practitioners, conveniently located on 5th Avenue in Youngstown, open weekdays and Saturdays. Excellent prenatal care is what helps ensure a healthy baby. So for the best women's health, reproductive and prenatal care, you'll want to be in the hands of Dr. Rodney Hill, Mama Carol, and Nurse Sin. They're your team in the village where every delivery is special. It's the all-new Valley Gold with Debórah. Now when you watch, let's not be selfish about it by keeping it all to yourself. Show me and your friends some love by sharing the links and leaving comments. Tell me what you think. I absolutely love reading remarks from our viewers. Now, stay tuned, because we're going to keep this party going. We often think because we suffer lack, that is an automatic disqualification from having a successful life. But my guest is proof positive that something you have may be just enough of what you need to begin your journey to success. My guest is Kayla Griffin. Welcome to the show, Kayla.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's all my pleasure to have you. So, Kayla, by the way, is an attorney. Yes. And she's also an author. And the title of her book is God, Sex, and Hair. How about that?
Yes. God, Sex, and Hair. The Gospel According to a Woman.
The Gospel According to a Woman. Okay.
When I wrote the book, it was because I was really trying to find myself in the scripture. And particularly in the Gospels, we have these interactions that Jesus has with women, but it's told from a man's perspective. And I really wanted to kind of dive in and kind of pull back the layers of what that looks like from a woman's perspective. So I tried to tell these stories, particularly of women who I think oftentimes the scripture or men preaching the scripture wrong does it a disservice. So it's a good read. I talked about Mary Magdalene. I talked about the woman who was caught in the act of adultery. That's probably my favorite expo out of that one, dealing specifically with sex and our encounters with God and how Jesus sees us versus how man sees us. And I just wanted to lend voice to their stories and give it from a different perspective.
That's going to be really interesting to unpack, especially when we get into who Kayla Griffin is. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about your childhood. So growing up in Ohio, can you talk about what your responsibilities were being the oldest child?
Yeah, so I grew up on the north side of Youngstown.
Okay.
Not in the suburb. I grew up on the north side on Laura Ave. And coming from a household where both my parents worked, and they worked hard, and I had young siblings that I had to look after. I often was left in charge of the children.
Not fun, right?
It's a job. So I grew up very quickly. You had to mature very quickly.
Okay, so now moving into your teen years. You were very competitive as an athlete. What were some of the sports that you played?
I played basketball. I played softball. I had played soccer before, but grew out of soccer with the Youngstown Soccer League, travel league. But I was a 4-year letterman in basketball. I was a 2-year letterman in softball. I tore both of my ACLs in basketball. No. So that's probably the only reason I did not letter in softball for high school.
And I have to say, I've seen ACL repairs. Your legs look great because I've seen some that are really, really bad.
Yes. I pride myself in my legs.
We're going to backtrack a little bit. You, as a kid, you loved watching like your crime stories and your courtroom shows and everything dealing with crime and the law, right?
Yeah.
And so did you know as a youngster that you were going to one day be a lawyer?
I always wanted to be. So, as a caveat, my favorite show coming up was CSI.
With all the blood and gore.
I loved it. I loved all of it. The original one, like Las Vegas. And I'm so excited because they are rebooting it with Gil Grissom. Like, they're coming back with the original
She knows
cast.
their names.
I am so excited. But yeah, that was I love puzzles and I like detective things.
And things that make your mind kind of strategize.
I love all of it.
Okay.
I love all of it. It gives me so much life.
And you know what? She said it gives her so much life. And I'm looking at her face. She's just becoming so effervescent.
But I always wanted to be a lawyer. We talked about coming up in Youngstown. I grew up in the hood. I saw a lot of young men, particularly, get wrapped up in the war on drugs and the 3 strikes. I didn't understand and didn't have the language back then. I didn't know what was happening, but in my mind it was like, why is it that all the black kids, all the black young men, they're doing such significant time for what in my mind seemed like something that should not warrant the amount of time that it was given. So from there, I made up in my mind I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney. I wanted to be a juvenile criminal defense attorney in particular.
To address the injustice that you were witnessing.
Certainly.
Wow.
And then I got to law school. And I saw that it was very different. And I was able to put context to what was happening in the 90s when I was growing up and seeing so much violence, seeing so much murder. At one point in the 90s, Youngstown was like at the top of the crime
nationally, yeah,
in the nation, right? But it's a reflection on where we are economically. It's a reflection on where our politics are and what we are doing around politics and policies. I didn't know that back then, but I thought that they just need somebody to stand up to the judge and stand up to the system and work on their behalf.
So once you actually got into it, did your perspective on that change?
Absolutely.
How so?
And it really begged the question, am I going to do as much work to defend one person, or am I going to try to put my efforts into changing the system?
So that no matter who was brought before the law, there would be actual fairness.
And justice.
Okay.
Yeah, across the board. So that's what drove me to this life of like public service that I've been in for as long as I can remember.
We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to get more from my wonderful guest, Kayla Griffin. Right back after this. Trust, dignity, and peace of mind. These are the qualities you look for when planning the memorial service of a loved one. L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home is the name families have come to rely on for pre-need planning, grief support, financial guidance, and compassion during life's most difficult time. Located at 1951 McGuffey Road in Youngstown, in the time of need, it's L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, still caring for the memories most cherished by you.
Every engine lover knows that sweet sound of an engine that is ready to race. This car was made ready at the Predator Zone. The Predator Zone is Northeast Ohio's only test and tune track, 330 feet of track with reaction time. Our track will pull your teeth out. Located on Youngstown's east side, grand opening in April. Before you put that car in the race, make an appointment at the Predator Zone.
And we're back on the show with my beautiful guest, Kayla Griffin. So we've been picking her legal mind, and now we're going to get into the woman, Kayla. Okay. Again, author of God, Sex, and Hair. I keep wanting to say God, Sex, and Braids, but God, Sex, and Hair. Yeah. So let's talk about you as a woman. Okay. Young, beautiful, African-American, educated, affluent, successful woman. So some of the stereotypes are things like if you're a successful black woman, then it's more difficult to find a man because he's intimidated by your success.
As a young person, I remember at 20s, like, dating is hard. And I tell people all the time, like, dating is not for the faint at heart.
So, okay, dating is hard. So in my mind, when you say dating, and I've had this discussion with my daughter too, because she would say the same thing. So in my mind, and we won't talk about what era I came from, dinosaurs ruled the earth, yes, all of that. A guy calls you up, he wants to take you out on a date. You go, somebody that you've gotten to know a little bit, and so you go out on a date, and he takes you to dinner or dancing or to a movie. But you guys say dating is hard. So break it down to those of us who don't know.
Let's go all the way back to it, how you opened up. A guy calls you up. One, guys ain't calling no more. That's the first thing. And if they do, they are like an anomaly. It's like, can I get your Instagram?
Oh my goodness, really?
And if you give it to them, they're going to search for your Instagram or whatever long enough, and then they're going to send you a whole bunch of messages, and it'll be a whole bunch of texts or DMs before it is, hey, can we hang out? It's never, can I take you on a date? It's, can we hang out? Let's just hook up. Let's link up.
In other words, not really taking any responsibility. Let's see how this is going to go.
Absolutely. Because you have the talking phase for how long? So folks be talking for 10 years. Are we just talking? It's no commitment.
Is that because somebody is allowing that?
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot on both sides, but I think we live in a generation. One, I grew up in a generation where we always were like connected to smartphones. Like,
okay.
I've had a smartphone as long as I can remember, right? But communication has broken down.
Yeah.
From your time to my time.
And I'm a much more touchy-feely generation where you guys are connected through electronics and technology.
Really. In your 20s, you're still learning who you are.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You're just legal, but you don't know anything.
Absolutely. So when you are trying to figure out who you are and date as well, it can be difficult.
Now that I can understand.
Yeah. So we are growing up in a generation where we are waiting longer to get married. Mm-hmm. We are learning more of who we are.
And now you have a better opportunity to have a solid relationship. When you do, you are more focused on the kind of person that you need. That's but because I really think, and you tell me what your opinion is on this, I really think a guy who is intimidated by a woman's success, that's not a real man.
Or it's just not the one for you.
There you go. Okay. She's so nice.
It takes a man to know who he is and to stand in his truth and stand in like who and what he has to offer in order to approach a woman who has lived life and has, a certain caliber of quality that she's looking for.
Started just after 3:30 this afternoon, spreading across the Northeast.
Our choices define us, makes us who we are. Who will you choose to become?
We can't stay here, okay? We need to leave right now. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you have challenges posing your dancers? Well, we have a solution for you. Point Now Flex Posing Cards.
We assure you this deck of cards will enhance your next photo shoot
with visuals on the front and descriptions on the back.
varying categories to help your photo shoot from the beginning to the end. So honey, go ahead and visit our site and grab your deck of Point Now Flex posing cards.
We're gonna end the show with some great, powerful wisdom that we can live off of. Okay? Oh no, you can do this. You can do this. All right. So, what advice would you give to girls who came up or are coming up behind you that come from similar circumstances that you did? What advice would you give to those 9-year-old girls in that age range?
Education does unlock so much, and I am a witness that my education has offered me a passport to life. And so make sure you know as much as you need to know in order to get in the rooms and be able to stay there.
So knowing what you know now, what would you say to those girls coming up, and not just girls, but young folks coming up who are looking to go to law school and become an attorney?
You need to get around some folks who are generous in what they share and don't find it intimidating or a burden to have conversations with young people.
Very good. Important. Mentors are so important. What advice would you give to women who are setting career goals and making plans that will affect their futures for a lifetime?
Every decision that you make has a consequence. Be very intentional about what you do and how you move. Think about, whether it's education, certificates, connections. Think about them as passports or stamps in your passport and utilize it to get to the next level. And understand that if you are a believer, if you believe in a higher power, if you believe that God is ordering your steps, it may not always go how you think it should go. That has been my testimony. I've had checklists and plans in place, and then I got to a place where I'm like, well, these plans are not working, so I'm just going to say, Lord, have your way. I'll just do whatever you tell me to do. I'll go however you want me to go. But understanding that it's not my plans anyway. It's like however the Lord wants to move me.
So it sounds like you are trusting God for the process.
Oh, we can say that.
Very good. I love it. And so the last question, let our viewers know where they can get God, Sex, and Hair.
So God, Sex, and Hair is on Amazon. You can either Google God, Sex, and Hair, The Gospel According to a Woman, or Kayla S. Griffin. That is there. If you have small children, I also published a Learn to Write book. 3 Learn to Write books. One for the culture, one for financial readiness, and one for Bible stories. So those are all of my Amazon page.
Very good. She is doing so much. I want to thank you, Kayla, for being my wonderful guest.
Thank you so much.
My generous guest with your information. I just love it. So proud for the work that you're doing, and we just got to get engaged. We got to engage. Tune in each week for the show, and until next time, that's it for now. Bye-bye.